Good morning, good morning. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Jackie Deja, whatever y'all call me. I hope everyone is having a great morning. Of course, I'm up early as usual. I've been up since like 3 a.m. Why 3 a.m.? I don't know. God wakes me up at 3 a.m. when He wants me to speak about something. So I have to get it together in my head and bring it to the light. I have explained to you guys how I've been within the awakening in one of them podcasts. It was a hard road to go down, being in an awakening. However, I didn't know that it was a process to it, you know. But I learned about it when I was in California and when I was in LA. And I think I told you this story before. I was at a restaurant in LA, and this little girl walked up to me, and this little girl, she didn't walk up to me, this man, this wrong story. I was getting ready to tell you about a story that happened in Maryland. That's two different stories. But anyway, the story in LA, the man was carrying a baby. He was walking through, and the baby wouldn't take her eyes off me. No matter how much he tried to turn her away from me, she kept like turning and fighting him to look at me, and I didn't understand why, and he kept telling her, stop, and then he turned around and he looked at me. He got up and he came over to the table, and he said, you know that babies can see angels. I said, well, I'm not dead. He said, no, they can see angels even in human form. And I said, So he kind of messed me up with that. He said she wouldn't stop. She needed to see you. So, pretty much he was bringing her to me. So I touched her hand, and once I touched her hand, she calmed down. I thought maybe, I looked like somebody she knew, from past life or something. I don't know. But once I touched her hand, she pretty much calmed herself. So from that point on, and which was about 10 years ago, I've been paying more attention to the children, to the animals, needing to understand why God was taking me through this process. And like I spoke to y'all about a situation that happened last year where a mother was going through a DV situation, which was the day before Christmas, I believe. And of course, y'all know our government closes everything during the holiday, so it's really hard to get any help. However, me and a friend of Charlotte that also has a nonprofit, he had got the call, and he passed the call on to me. And it was crazy how it happened. I think I talked about this too. But it was crazy how it happened because I was just running into the store just to pick up some shrimps. We was having a crab boil, me and Egypt. And I said, come on, I'm running here and I'm get some shrimps. And as I'm walking, he's standing there on the phone, and he looks at me, and he was like, God sent you. I said, sent me for what? I said, I'm just coming to get some shrimps. He was like, I need you right now. I said, why? He said, I got a lady on the phone. She's going through a DV issue. It's the day before Christmas, and she is going through it. Long story short, the woman had a child, and the child was very ill. And I didn't think it would be a great idea for her to move that child the day before Christmas, knowing that child is ill. She wasn't physically being beat on. It was mental abuse, and she just was having a breakdown, So I had to pretty much talk her out of wanting to leave the day before Christmas for the baby's sake. Sometimes we have to take pain and sacrifice for our kids' sake. But God needed me to tell her that, because if He didn't, I wouldn't have ran into Him needing me to talk to her. And I was able to talk her down, to staying home. I talked to her for about 2 weeks after that, every day or every other day for 2 weeks after that. She was a Christian. Just because we're Christians don't mean we don't go through things, and we need help sometime and need that extra push to say, hey, you know who you need to reach out to. You need to make that call to God, because all I can do is guide you there. I can't do it for you. So, we prayed a couple of times, and, I guess everything went well, because I never heard from her again. So God used me for that moment to keep that child safe. So that being said, I've had other issues, not issues, but circumstances where children knew that I had some type of anointing on me, and they played their part, letting me know what they needed me to know. Just like the baby, he actually talked to me about it. This little baby, he wanted the parents to start making the bread, and the mother kept saying, "Don't listen to him," and I'm looking at her like, "But he's telling us something," and she just looked at me like, "Lady, ain't nobody making no bread. I'm about to buy this bread off this shelf." But he knew something that we didn't know. What was it? I don't know. But of course, y'all know I'm starting to make bread myself. I just got into making the bread. It may be something that they put in it. I don't know what he was trying to tell me. But anyway, so yesterday, I'm at the market. 2 days ago, I'm sorry. I'm at the market 2 days ago, trying to get a few things. And of course, this baby won't take his eyes off me. I move left, he's watching. I move right, he's watching. Okay, I said, well, the woman had bread in her cart. So I said, well, is it the bread? Is he trying to tell me the same thing as the other child? And I looked beyond him, because the bread was in back of him, and saw the bread. So I started talking about the bread, and I was like, what's he trying to tell me? Because he just kept staring and just wouldn't take his eyes off me. And at times it can be scary, because you don't know what they're going through, what they're trying to tell you sometimes. So I'm watching, I won't take my eyes off him. And right before we left, his mom took a grape because they had some grapes. He had a healthy bunch of foods, okay? But she took a grape out of the container at the market and gave it to him. He looked at me and then took the grape and held it in his hand with his two little fingers. And was like, was holding it up to give it to me, but he was holding it up. Like, see? And then he turned and looked at her. I don't know if it was the grandmother or the mother that gave it to him, because it was both of them in there. He hit her. Like, not really hard, just like pushed her away. Like, oh. And then he looked at me again. And she was like, just eat your grapes. And he put it in his mouth. And then he looked at me. And I said, I see. They're forcing you to eat stuff that has, only God knows what's on it. I see. Yesterday, I had some other stuff to do, so it really wasn't on my mind. But then God brought it back to me again. God needed me to see something else yesterday, so I saw that. And God woke me up 3 a.m. and said, you got to talk about it. People, I don't know how much I can stress this. And y'all know I stopped eating chicken. I only eat fish and shrimp. I believe I'm going to become a vegetarian faster than I thought, because I'm getting tired of the shrimp and the fish. However, with fruits and vegetables, we know that we need them. They're good for us. Some of them was designed for us to have. Some of them was just given to us, Native Americans, just so we can have something to eat, which messed up a lot of our bodies. We've been losing a lot of people from colon cancer lately, and that's another thing that's been sitting on me. The cancers are still, they're on the rise again, We lost a TikToker, Randy Gonzalez, from colon cancer recently, young. And that's the other thing that sits on me bad. Like, he was young, 35 years old. At 35, I was just getting started. Like, I felt like I was in my prime, like, just getting started. And here this man lost his life at 35 years old. And his kids, they don't have a dad anymore. So it bothers me, like, why are these people dying so young? I heard a story yesterday. Lady was saying how her sister went to bed, didn't wake up. 38 years old. At 38, I was having a baby. Even though I almost passed, I almost died, not because of her, though, but I caught pneumonia. But it was for a reason. You know what I mean? So, I'm worried. I'm worried, like, what is going on, There's something that's not right for these young people to be dying like this. And I brought this to you guys' attention a few years ago. Every time I run into young people and they're telling me how they're living, and I look at them and I try to teach them, because the generation before them, which was our generation, wasn't teaching them, because we were working, trying to make ends meet for them. So I say that to say, they came home, the parents came home, probably giving them a lot of processed foods. And it was crazy, y'all. I'm sorry for stopping right there, but I was just thinking about something. Y'all know I don't eat chicken no more. So I'm at the McDonald's yesterday, and I'm going to go back to the clean and wash, okay? We're going to talk about that. I'm at the McDonald's yesterday. So I order, because we try and only eat processed foods maybe once a week, and try to detox. I'm trying to get Egypt to at least once a month, but it's hard with a child, especially when they're a working parent and they're home and they're hungry and they order DoorDash and, different things like that. So it's like really hard. That's why I try my best to try and cook for her and the things that she like, and it's really hard. However, we have to pay more attention to what we're feeding our children, okay? And anyway, so I walk up to the counter after ordering the food. Only thing, I'm so mad with Chick-fil-A, y'all, because Chick-fil-A has a cauliflower burger. They have a cauliflower burger. And I can't wait to taste it. And guess what? They don't have it here in Charlotte. And I'm so mad about it. I was telling one of my neighbors about it, and we were both discussing. And he had said, "That sound good," and I said, "I know. I could imagine having that with some Polynesian sauce." And they don't have it here in Charlotte. So Chick-fil-A, y'all need to get with it and get that thing here in Charlotte, because there's a lot of us here that will buy it. Just because this is the South, and I know they big on chicken or whatever the case may be, but you do have a lot of vegetarians and pescatarians here. They're everywhere. Anyway, the nuggets was $10.99 for 40 piece. And I was like, oh, I told the lady, I said, "Ma'am, is there any way I could refund this to get the $10.99 nuggets?" And she was like, "No, we don't have a way to refund food here, at McDonald's." And I'm like, huh? So I'm like, oh, okay. But then I stood there for a moment. I was like, okay, well, I'll just buy it tomorrow, and then Egypt and I can have lots of nuggets. But then I thought about it. I said, I don't eat chicken. So how am I buying nuggets? I said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry. My mind is just all messed up. You see how the devil was trying to get at me? The devil was trying to push me back to eating chicken." And I'm not saying that McDonald's is the devil. What I'm saying is, through the sale and the greed, though they know I like to save money. The devil know I like to save money. So, like, yeah, we'll get it with this one. I said, "No, you ain't getting me." So, of course, I got my little fish sandwich and my fries. Kept it moving. Getting back to the veggie and fruit wash. We realize a lot of people don't know about planting, what goes on during the planting process. There's bugs that enter our foods. There are, you ever seen yourself sit a grape or some type of fruit down and gnats start coming towards it? If one of those, say grapes, say use a grapevine, and one of those grapes get punctured, the gnats can sense it. Okay, and then the gnats get on it. And this is the other thing I was wondering about. Our fruit's supposed to be pollinized by the bees. Okay. When I first came here to Charlotte, people kept saying, "Get the honey that's made here. The bees, And I'm like, okay. And I bought some, and it didn't work. I didn't understand why it didn't work. Are these bees able to pollinize the fruit like they used to? Because the air is different. These are all the things that we have to look at. Does the different, what do they call them? Yeah, I'm trying to get the insect repellents and stuff like that. Are they, is the insect repellents killing the pollinization process? Pollinization process. Got it out, y'all. Is the insecticides doing that? This is why a lot of people are starting to become allergic to certain things because the way God designed it, the process is different due to the air intake. Everything is just different. So more and more people are getting sick. I'm trying to narrow it down why these babies have cancer. I told y'all, my grandmother, I was blessed to see my great-grandmother, okay, and not only see her, live with her, but see the way she lived life. She died at 84. She wasn't taking care of herself when she got older. One, because she was living by herself, which is a bad thing. I think no elder should be by themselves. That's just me. We know sometimes they be ornery, but I just think they should not be by themselves. Two, she had a disorder where she would fall asleep while she's, she could be talking to you and she'll fall straight to sleep. But she was an active person. So with all that being said, I learned a lot from her. She's the only one, her and her son and her daughter, that didn't pass away from cancer, which is my grandmother, both of my grandmothers, and my uncle. The rest of them died from cancer. They were older than everybody else. So I had to look at all of the factors. My grandmother, Doris, she died because she drank herself to death. She used to drink liquor and beer every single day. How do I know? Because I lived with her. So she destroyed that. That's why I don't drink, because I watched her kill herself slowly. My uncle, he was just tired. He passed away right after his mom. I guess he was just tired. His body, mentally, physically, just gave out on him. And sometimes, when people die, some people are not strong enough to be without their parents, so it actually kills them off. The stress kills them off. And I believe that was the case with him. But the point that I'm trying to make is they didn't die from cancer. The first person that I ever heard having cancer was my aunt. My Aunt Alice, that I lived with. After the situation with my brother, I went to live with my Aunt Alice and Uncle Luther. She was the first person, because she was the first person I know that was diagnosed. Not that died from the dead, but was diagnosed with it. Then my Uncle Luther was diagnosed. And, the dog was diagnosed, Boogaloo. And then Uncle Luther was diagnosed. So they all three had something in common. One, they all lived in the same environment. Two, they all ate the same food, including the dog, because they would give the dog the food that we eat, plus dog food. So, yeah. Then my aunt, she turned around. Well, she was actually my cousin, but I called her my aunt because she was older. She was my second cousin. She died from cancer. And then my mom, years later. So I say all that to say I've been evaluating all that stuff and saying to myself why and how. When my grandmother My two grandmothers and my uncle didn't die from cancer. So it's something to think about. However, y'all know I'm big on getting tested, whether it be about cancer, even STDs. I'm just big on getting tested, getting my blood tested to make sure my levels are where they're supposed to be. And if it's not, for me to work in that area so I can fix it, you know. I was testing myself 2 years in a row. No, 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row. I would eat. No, what happened was I had ate some fried chicken. And my daughter's father, he was the one that was caring for us. So pretty much, if he bought fried chicken, and I didn't have to eat it because I had food in the house. However, I was tired, didn't want to cook, and he came home with fried chicken, and it was like, this is what we having for dinner. I'm like, okay, and I ate it. And if we didn't have no food, I would have had no other choice but to eat it. So I say that to say, even with little children, what you give them, they don't have a choice. Because you're telling them, this is what I'm giving you. And they can't tell you no. Because eating is a survival. So it's up to the parents, the mom of the home. Okay? Matter of fact, when I post this podcast, I'm going to hashtag wives. I'm going to hashtag moms. So that way people can listen to what I'm saying and get the word out. But there's a lot of people out here that already know, but then there's more that need to know. And see, certain things are delivered in certain areas. So you wouldn't even know it exists. And see, that's one of the problems as well. If I want to go buy some veggie wash, I can't go to my local Food Lion. Food Lion, shout out to you guys. Y'all stay, what they call it, up with the Joneses. Y'all make sure y'all have everything we need. And I take my hat off to you guys. And that's even in the poor neighborhoods. Okay? So I take my hat off to you guys. Y'all cater to us. It's like I went to the market about a month ago, and I was looking for Parmesan cheese. I wanted grated Parmesan cheese. I didn't feel like going to Publix. I was at my local market. So I'm like, I don't feel like driving all the way to Publix to get no shaved grated cheese. I'm like, but I really want this meal. I was making shrimp Alfredo from scratch, which I might make some today. And that's another thing. We're getting back into making things from scratch instead of buying stuff that's been sitting in the store for days. We have to buy more products. It might cost a little bit more, but you know what's going in it. Okay? Shout out to the Italians because they've been cooking from scratch. They don't know no other way. And we have to learn to be like them, cook things from scratch. Of course, Black people, they cook things from scratch as well, But now we're getting into the thing where we're only doing it around holidays. There's no more big Sunday dinners, how we used to do. For one, we can't afford the food, let alone the time, okay, to even cook a Sunday dinner, And I laugh because my friend, he always wants string beans, and I love string beans. I'm a big string bean eater. As y'all know, I cook them every Thanksgiving. However, I eat string beans all year round. And I found a way to make them differently now. Shout out to the Asians. And without putting meat in it, because that was the thing that I was fearing. Like, okay, how am I going to eat string beans with no meat? You got to be kidding me. This is what I'm saying to myself. Like, oh my gosh. But I found a way. Getting back to talking about the food and washing your vegetables, washing your fruits, especially before you give it to your child. Then we're eating the skin. Okay. I mean, it's hard not to eat the skin with grapes. It's really hard. However, there are some fruits that we can take the skin off. Like apples, mandarins. They know I'm big on mandarins. I eat mandarins like, oof. My grandmother put me on, the one that lived to 84, she put me on to the mandarins. And as a child, she used to yell at me, stop eating up on my mandarins. Now you're going to go to the market and get some more. And I would have to walk down to Seatown on Broadway and go get her some more mandarins. So, yes, I took after her with the mandarins. I've always loved the mandarins. And they they're very high in vitamin C. I notice people is not buying them the way they used to because COVID is going down. However, it still helps your immune system. You don't stop. When you stop, what happens? Eventually it goes away, goes down. So you got to keep on going. When my grandson was with me during the COVID, he was a baby. And he also has allergy issues. And having allergy issues drops the immune system because the body is trying to fight. And I tell people this all the time. I've been allergic to so much all my life. I used to think it was a curse, but it was actually a blessing. Okay? I had to look at the factors of it because it's like I had to tell someone at work. I was cleaning. There was so much dust and I was cleaning. And I told her, I said, let me do this. I said, because you over here inhaling this stuff and you have nothing, no blockage. Now, I'll take a blocker, which is the Zyrtec and histamine. You don't have that. And sometimes the dirt be so strong in the bacteria that the Zyrtec can't even block it. I'll take the Zyrtec and I'll be sneezing and like, what is going on? There's some new bacteria that the Zyrtec can't even block. So it's something to think about. Now, every time you inhale bacteria and your body has to fight it off, if you're not constantly building your cells, they will die down. And then eventually you'll get real, real sick and need medication. And that's why. So I was telling, my coworker, I said, I'll do it because you don't have no Zyrtec in you. And I don't want you to be breaking down your immune system. Not only do I care about you, but I'm thinking about your child. Because if you get sick, you may make the baby sick. And that breaks down their immune system. And half of the time, we're breaking it down with some of the foods that we feed them if it's not washed correctly. Now, if those grapes had a pesticide on it, that little boy ate a nice juicy grape with pesticide. which can possibly break down the immune system. We have to think about what we're putting in our bodies. This is why I personally, I love organic. You know, my daughter's father hated that I went organic. He hated it. He told me, he said, I don't like you anymore. And I said, okay. I mean, what you want me to do? I want to live. I'm doing my research. I'm thinking. I'm paying attention. Organic costs a little bit more. However, we know it don't have those pesticides. That means they have to use other ways of trying to keep the bugs away from the fruit. I would think they probably, and even so with organic, you will want to wash your fruit as well. I still wash my fruit. Because, animals are out in the wild. All kind of things are out in the wild. But these are the foods that God put here for us to keep our bodies the way it's supposed to be. And if we eat these foods, it will help us. These foods help us detox daily. These foods help build our immune system. These foods help with certain areas in our body. So we need them. God wasn't wrong how he designed it. It's just that man put his hand in it, and now we all have to suffer for it. I'm going to go back to my grandson. So, we was going through the COVID, and he also has allergy issues, just like myself. That's why one of the reasons why I designed the soap, the Diamond Way soap. It was because of him. I had actually had it already in the makings, but I pushed it more. I'm going to say I pushed it more. When he was born, it was like God heard me and said, well, you got your grandson here. Help him. So he lived with me. He was, when I got Junior. Junior was 10 months. That's crazy. Because I got his father when he was 10 months. Then I got him at 10 months. I think it was 10 months. Then I had him on and off until he was 2. And then he went back with his people. I haven't seen him. He's 4 now. I haven't seen him in a while. Other than outside outside the phone. Because, we could FaceTime and stuff like that. But God showed me that I needed to protect him. So it forced me to really get into the soap making process. And doing more with it. Because when I first designed the Diamond Way soap, it was just the soap and the oil. Just the eucalyptus. And I said, we got to do some more. When the COVID came, I said, oh, no, I need some more stuff. Okay? And with him being a baby and need him to go to sleep, I had to add the lavender. I needed the peppermint for antibacterial, and the eucalyptus to open up the lungs so he could be able to breathe. During the process of his body trying to heal from the allergies allergens. I'm sorry, the allergens breaking down his immune system because that's what allergens do. So that's how I came up with the 3, putting it in there. Then I decided to put a little extra protection with the actual peppermint leaf and make it a little fun for the kids because he would love to get in the bath with it and try to get to the peppermint leaf. So that's how I came up with that idea. I was just paying attention, you know. While I was doing that, Zyrtec was making a baby strength, allergy medication. So I'm glad that they did that because my poor baby, his allergies would bother him so bad, he would just drop to the floor and just lay there. And I said, oh my God, but I got to help this baby. So of course I would give him a bath. I would put on the eucalyptus and try to help him out until he get better. You know. And anyway, I was trying to get to. I had bought him this thing from Amazon, and it was I don't know what they call it, but you were able to put fruit in it. It's like a pacifier. But I was able to put fruit in there. And he can suck the juice. He won't eat the skin or the pulp. Put it in there. He'd suck the juice. And he used to love that thing. And I be thinking sometimes he be, you know, baby start whining and stuff. And I be thinking he want his bottle. He want more fruit. He hold it out to me like, okay, more. And you can't put a whole orange in there. I mean, a tangerine or a mandarin in there at once. So, you know, I will open up one and put about 3 of them in there, give it to him. He sucked those up, and then I'll take those out, rinse it off, and put the other ones in. So it's a process, and granted, parents, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work having children, period. Okay? But I did it so he can continue to keep his immune system built. We don't know what is going on out there in this air, okay? And I was telling somebody the other day, anytime the birds are dropping out the sky, we had 2 years where the birds was just dropping out the sky, okay? I had a dead bird. I had 2 of them. Had a dead bird. He was a fat little thing, too, so he wasn't hungry. But something was wrong with him because he died. Okay, and then they start saying about the bird flu and all of this other stuff. So it was several reasons why God put it in my heart to let the chicken go. Because we don't know what's going on. The same when that fruit is being brought to our local markets. We don't know what's going on. And shout out to the stores that do sell the veggie wash. Food Lion is one of them. Publix. I haven't seen it at Walmart yet. It could be there. I just haven't seen it. But shout out to Food Lion, Publix, Harris Teeter. Oh, those 3, they sell the wash. And as y'all see on the picture on this podcast, I showed y'all the wash that I use. Actually, I got to go get some because it's running out. But yeah, we need to wash our foods and fruit before we eat them. You know, I told God, I said, Jehovah, I said, listen, I know you want me to get it to the people, but I'm tired of telling them and then they're looking at me like I'm crazy. So I don't tell people no more. You know, I just don't tell them. I just look at them and, you know, like for the baby, I had to pray for the baby, you know, because he showed me. Like, look what they're doing. My grandmother and my mother, they're giving me dirty grapes. And I got to eat it because they are my elders. So we got to get the word out. And that's just the bottom line, because you know how the world moves. Well, United States, we move by word of mouth. Something going viral in order for them to understand it, see it, and change. Anytime you got people so young dying from cancer, and I'm talking about kids and men, women, young people, and they're dying. Something has to change, and we have to get to the bottom of it, I'm so worried about my friend. He don't even know it. But I'm so worried about him because he eats bad. He doesn't want to work out anymore. And and I look at him and I just be like, I shake my head and he's just like, whatever, And he was the one, I'm not going to say teaching me, but when I told him the stuff that I eat, he was like, okay, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, you need to eat that stuff, and I'm like, okay, then why you not doing it? He lost faith in life, and I'm upset about it. I really am, he tell me, oh, what I gotta eat? Yeah, you gotta eat, but you ain't gotta eat that stuff. Cook. And if you can't cook where you at, my door's always open. You can cook. Get yourself together. You lost sight of who you are because you came to a whole nother state. No. Because whether people know or not, New York, we eat pretty healthy. One thing I can say about us New Yorkers. That's why when I went up north for a little while, I was okay with it because I knew I'll be able to eat. And then we have a Hispanic food carts everywhere. Okay, so we're big on food in New York. Our bodies is being detoxified all the time because we're eating all kind of fruits. This is what we do, especially in the summertime. We live off of fruit and water. Okay, and ices. We wake up eating grapes. We may have some eggs, maybe, or Nutriment, not much because we hot, and the thing about that I noticed living in a hot area, meaning like I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Down here, we've been hot now for the last 2 weeks. Okay, and it's been wonderful and I love it. So when summer does hit, we're pretty much used to it. Okay, so it could be 100 degrees and it's like, whatever. Yeah, it's hot, but it's not like excruciating, to us. We come in the house, turn on the air conditioner and chill. You won't see too much movement outside. Now, New York, our bodies have to adjust because you've been cold for so long. And then now it's starting to gradually get hot. But then it's doing it faster. So all we want to do is stay cool. It makes us not want to eat. All we want to do is drink, water, juice, eat fruit. We eat a lot of fish in New York as well. We want light food. Like on Fridays in New York, you go to the fish market, the line be out the door. It's a culture thing, So, when people look at me down here and watch my movements and the way I do things, I am New York. So for them to say, oh, she's strange. Well, then if you go to New York, you'll think the whole city is strange because this is what we do. It hasn't changed. It's within me. I grew up there for 38 years. So, it's not going to change. I'm going to still live my life the same way. I'm just changing some of my eating habits, and I did that pretty much in Maryland because I was around a lot of military. So, of course, they're going to teach us about the working out, and healthy eating, and it fell through all through the area. We was thankful because we were healthy. And then we had then they had I think it's crazy because, I'll be watching the ladies that be doing the tarot cards on TikTok. And then they be burping, right? And then they be like, that's confirmation. And when I just mentioned Maryland and the military, and then I burped, and then I was saying to myself, well, is that confirmation of them showing us? Or, sometimes my mind just runs. But I was just thinking about it, like, because, they keep saying that the tarot stuff is fake. I watch it, and, and my daughter be like, Mom, don't watch that stuff. That stuff is fake. And I don't really know. I do my own thing with my own anointing and my spirituality and me and God. So I don't really get into all of that stuff. I did used to use tarot cards back in Maryland, but I wasn't that big in it. It was something that I was trying. One, because I used to deal with a lot of gypsies. So I'm not saying that they pushed me into it, but I felt like it was a calling for me, so I said, let me try it, but it wasn't something that I held on to. I moved further to the other side with God, I said, I'm going to be on this side. Y'all can have that side, However, but I just thought about it when I started talking about Maryland, then I burped, because that's what they be saying. They'll burp or something strange will happen, and they be like, that's confirmation. It was just something I wanted to throw out there. But anyway, back to cleaning the fruits and vegetables. We must do it. A baby should not have to suffer for the negligence of a parent that's not thinking. Okay? I understand not all of us are woke. Okay, meaning God hasn't taken all of us through the awakening. So you'll be able to see. That's when we talk about the third eye, that's what we say. We are able to see things before they happen. Not because it's a miracle or, how can I say, or God has gave you special powers. It's because your training of thinking is different. The process of thinking is different. This is why I tell people, read the Bible. Go out into the nature and understand the process of nature. Then you'll understand the process of thinking. Okay, and that's when we're here. It's people like me, and it's a whole bunch of us. We are anointed and our third eye is open. Some is opened up real wide and others, they're working on it. And I like to only be around people that I know has been through an awakening or going through an awakening. If y'all notice, like they say, oh, Jackie don't hang out with too many people, but I know a lot of people. A lot of people know me, However, no, I don't. But if I know that you're going through the awakening, not so many people want to deal with you because they don't understand you. So that's where I come in at, because I understand, Just like I was on a TikTok. Matter of fact, I got to get on there with him today. It's Friday. He gets on Monday and Friday, a minister. And he let me talk to the people. He said, I'm going to listen to your podcast. And he understood me. Now, the reason why he understood me because he has been through the awakening. People that hasn't been through an awakening, they would never understand me. In other words, able to see with their third eye. And it just means able to see clearly. Okay? Past what's in front of them. If that makes sense. Being able to go into a room and manifest the area just by your presence and seeing what's going on and know what's the next thing that's going to happen. And it's not really, to me, it's not psychic abilities. It's just being able to see further than what the average person is able to see. So yeah, I'm going to join him today and see what they're talking about today and learn some things from them. I always like to be with people that I can learn from, to help elevate my way of thinking and my process in life itself, But getting back to the vegetables, okay, and that's the reason why God woke me up at 3 a.m. because I needed to speak about y'all washing y'all fruit and vegetables. You guys have to do it. A child's life depends on it when you give it to your children. Even your life depends on it. But what you do with your life is up to you. But what you do to another life, it's not right. Okay? Especially if you know. And God is watching. I mean, if you don't know, it's one thing if you don't know. But if you do know, and you just saying, you know what, I don't care. You're the one that's going to have to suffer if you don't work on it. And since I've been pescatarian, God has brought so many different recipes to me. A friend of mine at work came to me and was telling me about chickpea salad. And I thought she meant putting the chickpeas in the salad. She said, no, someone had showed them how to make chickpea salad like you would make tuna fish. Whether y'all don't know, but I'm allergic to tuna fish as well, even though it's a fish. I was going to say, what y'all don't know. Y'all don't know that I'm allergic to certain fish. That's what I was about to say. But yeah, I'm allergic to tuna fish. I can eat mackerel, I can eat salmon, I can eat porgies, I can eat tilapia. But tuna fish give me a terrible feeling. However, with that being said, guess what I'm about to substitute it with? Chickpeas. So that was a blessing. Because I got a cabinet full of tuna fish that I can't even eat. I mean, I can eat it, but don't nobody I don't feel like feeling sick. I mean, you eat things because you don't have other things. But if you have a choice, don't put yourself through it. And that's just what I did. If I know a certain item is going to make me sick, I leave it alone. But we have to be a little bit more health conscious because we don't know where these cancers are coming from. We know the process of cancer. Okay? And for those that don't know the process of cancer, you can Google it. If you want to Google it and then email me, I can break it down to you. The process. This is why we try to keep inflammation out of the body. With bacteria, We don't want the bacteria to grow in our bodies. This is why we try to detox every single day. We don't want it to sit there. Some people detox every day. Some people detox once a month. We are supposed to detox every single day. We're supposed to have fruit every single day, and fruit detoxes us. You have to learn the stuff that helps our body. So we can help ourselves. I don't know if I had told y'all, I know I always talk about my own life before I talk about somebody else's, because I don't like talking about other people anyway. I went to the doctor. I kept going on my menstrual cycle, and I didn't understand why. Like, what is going on? I said, something is not right. So, of course, when something is not right, you make an appointment. I made an appointment. I go to the doctor. Okay? So the doctor's like, you have 2 little small fibroids. I'm like, okay, I heard of that name before. Because when you don't hear something often, you don't pay it no mind. You just like, it just goes to the back of your mind. So I'm like, okay, I heard of that before. I heard of that fibroids. Somebody had fibroids that I know. A whole bunch of people have fibroids that I know. Because they always diagnose somebody with fibroids. Like, okay. How do fibroids grow? So I had to look that up. Okay. So I'm like, okay. She wanted to immediately do surgery. Okay, well, let's make you a surgery appointment. What? Surgery? What? Hold on, wait, pause. Hold it. First thing, I gotta laugh because she was like, okay, well, we're gonna make your appointment when? Wait a minute, let me process this first. And you talk about making appointments to go up in me. I don't think so. Pause, lady. I like you, but, and that's how I was feeling. So I said, I got to talk to my family. I have no adult family down here. I got my daughter. I don't, I can't go for no surgery right now. Pause. So I come on home, me. I start doing my research. I said, okay. Research. Now, mind you, I don't have pain. Okay. Only reason why I went to find out what was going on is because my menstrual kept coming on. So she said it was really little, and I'm like, okay. So now, come home to my reading, and I'm reading like the size of them, and I'm like, okay, well, what can cure these things outside of them going up in me, So now, I read some things about the people. Some of the people say, their stomach be all bloated because of the fibroids or whatever. And so that's not my case, and I know that. Certain foods that I eat will bloat my belly. If I don't eat right, my belly will be bloated. You'll see me today, my stomach could be flat, and you see me tomorrow, and I could be bloated. And it's all about the food. So I said the fibroids are not affecting my size. It's not, because some people have big fibroids where they gut be hanging out over, and it just be, and sometimes my gut get like that too, but it depends on what I've been eating. If I eat ice cream, I'm going to look like I'm 5 months pregnant, okay? That's what the milk does to me, because I'm lactose intolerant. But, everyone has to cheat every now and again and have some ice cream. So during the summertime, sometimes you will see me bigger than I would normally be, because I love to have me some ice cream every now and again. And I can't stand the way artificial ice cream tastes. I have to have all natural. And even with all natural, it still affects the way my body, the intake. When I eat frozen yogurt, though, I don't have that problem. But frozen yogurt doesn't have all the beautiful flavors like pralines and cream and butter pecan, butter almond. They don't have it. So I have to get that stuff separately, because maybe somebody is listening and they have designed some yogurt with those flavors. All they have is vanilla with a bunch of sweets to drop on top of it that make you sick on the stomach. Anyways, I have to watch what I eat or it will affect me. So I've always been like that. So for God to introduce to me certain ways to clean my fruit and my veggies, it made sense for me because I'm allergic to a lot. So when it comes to a child or if the wife is the one that's cooking, think about the family. Because the way you feeding them reflects on you. Because you're responsible for how you're cleaning their food, how you're preparing their food. I was listening to, it was funny, Power 98, where the man, broke up with his wife, and his wife moved on, got another man. Another woman. No, she got another man. So the husband calls, the ex-husband calls, this is Power 98 with their best, but the husband calls the wife, and I guess the husband answered, the new husband, and said, I'm suing your wife. And he was like, for what? What are you suing her for? Y'all broke up. Y'all been broke up for such. She gave me diabetes. So he's like, what? He's like, she gonna have to pay for these doctor bills because she gave me diabetes. And I was cracking up. But in actuality, if she was the one doing the cooking, yeah, okay. But then we don't know if he was going out eating stuff he had no business. Same with me and my significant other, Pat, that we're not together anymore, my daughter's father. I can feed him right. Or I can say, well, I'm making this. And he'll be like, what? No, I don't want that. I'm like, all right. I bought some vegan mayonnaise. I don't want that. I want the regular Hellmann's. Regular. I did get away with the canola. I bought eggs, brown eggs. I don't want that. That's what he said. He didn't like me anymore. I said, well, it's just eggs. I don't want brown ones. And, I would say to myself, nigga, you're brown. Okay, what's wrong with brown eggs? He just didn't want it. I would make fish. And I would have my avocado on the side. If I try to eat avocado at least. Lately, it's been like 3 times a week. Because now I eat, when I eat an avocado, I used to only eat half of it. Now, pretty much, I eat the whole avocado because I'll make a sandwich or I'll have it on the side of my dish. However, I tried to get him because his cholesterol was going up because he eats a lot of fried chicken. And I tried to give him the avocado, and he was like, I don't want that. He would curse me out for trying to help him live. Like, make it make sense, So I got to the point where if people want to die, let them. But don't, you can tell them, but don't force them. If they don't listen after the first time, just let them do what they do. And just worry about yourself. And that's how, I've been, lately. Because you get a lot of backlash for trying to help people. They want to call you liars. They want to say all these different things. And you're like... But when I go to the doctor and I get my little blood work, my stuff is good. I'm trying to help you get like that. So I just learned to just let them be. I put it on my podcast. I have a high following on my podcast. A lot of people listen. So even though they don't follow the actual podcast, I don't know, I'm not sure. But I know I see the numbers, so I know people are definitely listening and from everywhere, different areas, different countries. But I say that to say, I get the word out. Those that do want to change and eat right and live a healthy life, they're going to listen. And the ones that don't want to listen, they don't have to listen. But I won't be the bearer of bad news anymore for people to hate me because I'm trying to help them. And that's just how I chose to live my life. But then they don't realize that when you're killing yourself, you're hurting people around you. And that's what people fail to realize. You have children. They don't want to see you die. Just like Randy Gonzalez. His son had to watch him die. That's got to be the hardest thing ever for a small child. I did it with my mom. I was an adult, and it was hard for me. Because my mother died from cancer as well. She was another one that didn't listen. Every time I tell somebody, you shouldn't be eating that. Mom, why don't you do this? I exercise and blah, 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 blah. I kept talking to her because that's my mother. You think you my mother? No, I don't think you my mother. I know you my mother, but Mom, things are changing. The world is not the same. And you have to change with the times. Some people just they give up. I'm not changing with the times. This is why I be around kids a lot, And I was trying to explain that to a friend of mine, come on and go out with the kids. You don't know how much you're going to learn from these children that you didn't know. Just because they're younger, they're in school today, and they're teaching them stuff to carry on with them for the next 30, 40 years that we were never taught. So I listen to the kids, and I just be listening. I don't say much, I just listen. See their choices of the way they do things and the things that they eat, things they like to drink. So, yeah. They can't get away from them Takis, though. And that blue dye is the worst. I made some soap the other day. And it's not the same dye, but it's a pigment. But I noticed how they little tongues be blue. Their lips be blue. And their insides be blue. And if they eat too much of it, their poop will be blue. I gave my grandson some one day. And he pooped and his poop was blue. I said, oh, y'all better not get his baby no more. Well, he snatched it. I'm like, okay, well, y'all snatch it back. I don't want him having it. Because his poop is blue. Stop giving the baby Takis. And the baby like it, mouth burner. Like, come on, y'all, really? I feed the baby veggie sticks. And y'all giving them Takis. Ruining a good thing. I had my little baby on veggie sticks. All kind of healthy stuff. And he would eat them. That's the thing. If they're not introduced to certain things, they don't know about it, they're not going to want it. It's like, I'm going to use this for instance. My grandson was walking through, and I give him a lot of water. I'm a big water person, because my mom, she was a big water person. We always drank a lot of water. And he said, I'm talking about my daughter's father. My grandson was walking through, and he had his little bottle, and he saw Eric with his bottle, drinking. And he went over there and looked at it like, why is his stuff colorful and my stuff is clear? He kept looking at his bottle. So Eric, he can see, he can read signs too. He's not fully anointed, but he has some anointing within him. However, so he looked at him and he said, you want some flavor, man, don't you? So he gave him one of the packets. It don't have sugar in it, but I'm like, why did you do that? He was like, he wanted it. I said, no, he did not. He said, yes, he did. He wanted it. He kept looking at me, and he wanted it. I said, but just because he wanted it don't mean you had to give it to him. Well, every time I tried to give this kid some water, he'd take the water bottle and go and give it to my daughter's father and come back with some flavor. And now he fine. Now he want to lay down. He looked at the water, get out the bed. I'd be like, lay down, drink your water. Get out the bed and take his little bottle in there and give it to Eric and come right back with his colorful. I said, Lord Jesus. I said, everybody has to be on the same page when you're trying to keep a child from eating certain things. And he did the same thing with my daughter. She needs flavor. No, she don't need flavor. She doesn't. She gets flavor from the fruits when she eat the fruits. Because I used to feed my daughter every morning. She would have one sausage. I would give her a bowl of grapes and some eggs and a piece of toast. That's what I would feed my daughter every morning. Okay? And some water. That was her breakfast. He didn't like it. He kept saying she needed flavor. She gets flavor from her food. She gets real juice from her grapes. She has flavor. The grapes. Some of them grapes be so juicy, it's like drinking a cup of juice. I don't want my baby having pasteurized stuff. So he ruined that for me as well. When it came to her eating habits. But what can I say? He's a parent. What can I say? I could tell him what he's done. I could break it down to him. But if he doesn't want to listen, he doesn't listen. And then that child is affected. I had met a couple. I was at the Academy store. And I met a couple, and they said that their family disowned them because of the way that they want to raise their baby. They're eating the way the baby eats, the way the baby drinks. And the family is like disowning them because of it. How are you disowning your family members because they don't want to eat fried chicken and hot dogs and hamburgers? And how are you disowning your people because of that? They're calling them bougie because of the way they're eating. Make it make sense, people. How am I bougie? Because I want to eat a certain type of way to live. So to live is being bougie? Then if that's the case, then I want to be bougie. And that's just the facts. If it's going to help me live, why should I be condemned for wanting to live when God gave me choices? because you chose to follow your generations of family that fed you a certain kind of way, and then they all died off, and you constantly keeping it alive. And yes, we do have traditions that we like to keep alive, like the Thanksgiving meals. My daughter never eats turkey. She doesn't like it. But I make it anyway because it's the tradition. And I'm trying to think how Thanksgiving is going to go this year, because I don't eat turkey no more. My friends at work laughed at me. They was like, well, you can cook the turkey and then you can give it to me. At least you did it. You did your tradition and just hand it over. You'll have the smell of it. And what am I going to put in place of it? I have to think about that. I don't eat tofu and all that stuff because a lot of that has soy in it. And, of course, I'm allergic to soy. And so people say, oh, why don't you eat this? I can't. It has soy in it. I'm allergic to soy. But I can eat soy sauce, but I don't think soy sauce has soy in it. They just call it that. I have to do my research on it, because that doesn't bother me. But anything that has soy in it, milk, it all makes me sick. Even certain beans make me sick. That's why I have to be careful with eating certain beans. A friend of mine that I had about 7 years ago, she know that, I like beans. So she had cooked a pot of beans. And, what is it called? 21 beans or something? Or 15 beans? I don't know. It's just a lot of different type of beans in there. And, oh my gosh, it smelled so good. When I walked to her house, I was like, oh my God, those beans smell good, girl. She's like, yeah, I'm going to put you some in a bowl so you can have and take home with you. I said, okay. I ate them beans, and I couldn't get to the allergy medicine fast enough. So I said, what did you put in them? And she's like, basic. And she was telling me that, like, the seasoning she put in. I said, okay, I'm not allergic to none of those. It's got to be one of the beans. But which one? So I just stick to the beans that I'm used to, which is the chickpeas, kidney beans, black beans. I don't do too many pinto. I eat black-eyed peas. But those are the basics that I can eat without getting an allergic reaction. So, yeah, it's been hard for me all my life not being able to eat certain things. Some people can't imagine how hard it is. And you tell people I can't eat that. I'm sorry. And people get offensive about it. I went to a restaurant one time up in Atlantic City, and I told them, just give me the dry chicken with no sauce, and just a spoon of rice, and a vegetable. And the chef came out the back, like, well, who is she? And she's messing up my dish. And I had to explain to him, sir, I'm allergic to a lot of stuff. So I'd rather order a dry piece of chicken instead of making myself sick because you gave me something that I'm allergic to. He was so upset. And I mean, he was upset. He looked at me like, you're messing up my dish. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I may be messing up your dish, But I don't want to be sick because it's something that I ate that you put on the dish. I'm here to have fun, not be sick. I only need to eat to have energy, to survive, not to always enjoy what I eat. Even though people have taken that too far as well. They got to always enjoy the food that they eat. It's okay sometimes. But sometimes we have to eat not because we enjoy it, but we need to just survive. Because we be going overboard. And that's the life that I had to live all my life. I can only eat certain things, so I stick to the things that I know is not going to make me sick. And the same with babies. We don't know what's going to make them sick, so we try to be as cautious as possible and stop introducing them to new things. I was talking to a girl at work, her stepchild, allergic to crabs. She's only 2, 3. Why was she even eating crabs? She shouldn't have crabs until at least 5. But people do what they do. And it's nothing you can tell them. It's their child. Then when a child come up with being allergic to something and they looking like, well, how did that happen? How did that happen? Because you gave the child. No, what's in seafood. And it's not about the chemicals and the bacteria in the water. It has a lot of agents in it that our bodies need. But babies can't intake that high quantity of it. Just like with Tylenol. I'm just using this as an example. That's why they have a brand for children and a brand for the adults. Because the children can't take as much as an adult would. So if you sit a child down with 5 shrimps, and we know shrimp is high in calcium, magnesium. I think it's a magnesium. I can't remember. But it has a lot of stuff in it that our bodies need, but you're overdoing it when it comes to a child. You can eat 5 shrimps, and your body may be able to take it. A child can't. You sitting there, you know that crabs, the meat is real soft, very easy to eat, very easy to digest, but it has a lot of stuff in it. So I can see a parent eating crabs, baby sitting there, and they putting a piece of the meat in the baby's mouth. I can see it. Breaking it down, yeah, eat. You're making the baby sick. Because you overdoing it with the child. Now the child can't eat no seafood. Because it break out in hives and can't breathe. You done messed up the child's body. The parents are doing this. Because they don't have the knowledge. Then you got all these kids in St. Jude with cancer. Why do babies have cancer? They're babies. They haven't even begun life yet. The parents is doing it to them. Breaking down their immune systems. So parents, please, wash your fruits and vegetables. Watch the meats and foods that you give your children. Try to go organic. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your baby. They have plenty of organic baby foods. Me personally, I make my baby foods. I used to make my grandson baby foods. And he would love it. Keep his immune system built. He eating fresh veggies or fruits. And they used to laugh. My grandson's father said he don't like us. He like it over here with you. Because a person know when they feeling good and something is right. I would take my time, and he was standing and just look at me like she cooking up my food. It's different from their stuff, but she cooking it up. He would just look and then go play with his little toys and then come back. I'm making your baby food, man. These kids know, they learn, they watch. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Miss JJ Diamond, Jackie Deja, whatever y'all call me. Today's podcast is to be more knowledgeable into what you're putting into your children's body. Be knowledgeable to the things that you're putting in your own body. I love y'all. I'll talk to you soon.